Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's watches, and this week, as you can see, we have a lot of incredible watches on the table, from modern to vintage to pretty much near new to some stuff you very rarely see, limited editions, brands that you've probably for the most part never really seen before either, like Vulcain and some others. So I'm excited to bring this to you guys and girls, and I think there will be something for everyone here today at different price points as well. Some stuff I'm very excited for. Now, before we get on to all that, I do want to say a big thank you again. Another incredible week. I really do appreciate it. And it just seems to be going from strength to strength. The stock we are getting just keeps getting better and better. And I really do appreciate it. So thank you all very, very much. As always, if you have a watch, or you have to excuse the noise, if you have a watch you would like to sell, head over to the website and click on the sell section. You will see a form that you can fill out, and you complete the information on there and come and see it. I believe I just said come and see it when I meant come and sell it. That's the trouble when a lot's going on in the office as well. So yes, before we crack on with the watches that are on the table and what you're here to see, let's take a look at what's on wrist. And I'm wearing this beauty for this video because this is coming to the website very, very soon. Hopefully next week, all being well. This is a beautiful Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, and this is 36mm automatic, two-tone steel and gold. The reference is 14700 SC, and it's from circa 1987 sort of onwards, and it's I think it's a D serial. So for those of you that really know your Royal Oaks and the serial range, that puts it circa 1987 to 94 thereabouts, but I'd say this is circa 1987 to 1990. Really incredible piece. It's going to be perfect for someone out there, so be sure to go check it out once it comes, or send us an email and get ahead of the website if you are interested. But I think it looks pretty good on me, and it suits my look, maybe. Definitely not a Royal Oak person just yet, not yet. But now that's out of the way, let's crack on with what you're here to see, and that is the watches. And we're going to start off with the Girard-Perregaux Laureato, an incredible watch. And this is probably the most desirable configuration with the stainless steel and the blue. Let's take a closer look. So to begin this week's drop, we have the Girard-Perregaux Laureato automatic in 40mm. With the blue dial. As I said in the intro, probably one of the most desirable configurations of this watch. Obviously the skeleton in the rose gold is quite popular as well, but I think from just a value perspective, this one is fantastic, and the price is also great. I won't bore you with the reference, it's a long reference, you can see that on the website, but the history of the Laureato goes quite far back, and it's one to really sort of research. You'll see that it is quite fascinating, really. They have every right to the design and the overall look. You know, it's not just another Royal Oak, Audemars Piguet look-alike. They have true history and heritage here. Really fascinating dial, very nicely done. Nice handset as well. Screw down crown over there at 3 o'clock, and an interesting bezel design with the polish behind it. This is a worn watch. You will see some marks, as you can see some marks on the bezel there, and on the bracelet you can see scratches. This has been well enjoyed, as it should be. You know, it's nice to actually see, you know, luxury watches worn and enjoyed and brought to us in pre-owned condition, and we leave it like that because we can give you, the buyer, the option. Do you want to have it polished looking like new again, in which case we can get that done, but if you're wanting it worn and ready and not having to worry about it yourself, this one's ready to go. So this is from October 2018 with its box and papers, and inside is the automatic Girard-Perregaux caliber GP 01800, really nicely finished and a nicely decorated movement in general. You can see a deployment clasp with Girard-Perregaux stated on there, obviously the other side first so the GP logo can fit nicely inside. As I say, worn, you will see scratches. Screw links as well, as you'd expect, but let's show this one on wrist and talk dimension. Here we go, on my 7-inch wrist, as you can see, a very good looking watch and a great size at 42mm. I think I said 40mm earlier, but it's 42mm by 49mm lug to lug, only 11mm thick and 15mm at the lugs. That is that part there. Obviously flares out to about 22 and comes down towards the clasp as well. So very nicely proportioned, very comfortable on the wrist, and it definitely looks more expensive than what it is in my opinion. So go check this out on the website today. From there to an Omega Seamaster James Bond 50th anniversary edition with the 007 repeated on the dial and the 50 in red to commemorate the 50th anniversary, and a very interesting case back as well. Fresh from polish, it looks pretty damn good and a very cool watch as well. So let's take a closer look at this one. So next up, the Omega Seamaster Professional James Bond 50th anniversary with the repeated 007 on the dial and the red on the bezel to commemorate the 50th anniversary. As we said in the intro, a very, very cool watch, and for you James Bond fans out there, this is a must in the collection. I actually know a couple of people who have almost the entire James Bond series of watches because they're a huge fan of Omega, huge fan of the Seamaster, and a huge fan of the Bond series, so it's great to see. As I said also in the intro, this watch has just come back from a case refurb and bracelet refurb, so it looks fantastic. There are a couple of marks still here and there as to be expected. We haven't gone too crazy. We didn't want to polish it down too much and get rid of every last little mark. We've just made it a lot better because it was very heavily worn in this case. You can see nice case back as well, with sort of the barrel and everything, as you can see. Very, very cool. Inside is the automatic Omega coaxial caliber 2507, and this one's from August 2012 with its box and paperwork. We have currently no spare links, but we can source them, so if you require spare links, we can get that for you. This will currently fit about a 6 3/4 inch wrist thereabouts currently, so do keep that in mind. But let's show this on wrist and taut dimension. Here we go on my 7-inch wrist. As you can see, great proportions, but that comes as no surprise because this is very, very classic in its sizing at 41mm by 47mm lug to lug, 12.5mm thick and 20mm on the lugs. So endless options for swapping this one out, and I do think it would look pretty cool on a rubber strap or maybe even a leather with like red stitching. That would look kind of cool. But go check this one out on the website today. From there, let's go on to a couple of Grand Seikos. As you can see, we've got two awesome ones on the table, and one that comes up very rarely and is incredibly popular and quite hard to get as well. This is nicknamed the Grey Beast, and it's the Quartz Grand Seiko. So let's take a closer look at this. So now on to Grand Seiko with the Grey Beast, as it's known. Very, very cool name. This is the fantastic Grand Seiko Quartz with the 9F 82 caliber inside, and specifically this is the SBGV 245, and from December 2020 with its box and paperwork paired on its original Grand Seiko canvas strap, which is super comfortable and super nice. You can see, as you'd expect, typical Grand Seiko design for the case back, and as I say, the quartz 9F caliber beating away inside. These watches have become very, very popular, especially this one thanks to, you know, YouTubers and just in general the sort of small production it appears like, because there's just very few out there, and when they do come up they are at this sort of price range. That's just the reality of it. And again, I don't think there is another one for sale in the UK at this moment, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, it's a really great watch. You can get some of the quartz Grand Seikos for a lot less with similar case sizes and designs, but this really awesome grey dial is what makes this one stand out, and it does look fantastic. Very, very attractive piece and very versatile as well. Obviously it comes paired on this strap, but you could swap it out for really anything, and they also produce a bracelet that will fit this watch, which also looks fantastic and maybe worth picking up if you're into this. So let's show it on wrist and taut dimensions, and here it is on my 7-inch wrist. Now, as with all canvas straps, you will need to wear in the strap. The strap has been very lightly worn, to be honest, so you will need to put your wear into it and get it to bend and mold to your wrist, but once it does, it will be super comfortable. So it's 40mm by 47mm lug to lug, 11.5mm thick and 20mm on the lug, so endless options. Nice lug size for you to be able to swap out straps, so go check it out on the website today. Now from there to a personal favourite of mine. We sold one recently and we've been fortunate to now get another one in, and if these keep coming up, I will keep taking them. They are fantastic. This is the Grand Seiko Elegance in manually wound. I believe it's a 3-day movement as well. Fantastic watch. So let's take a closer look at this one. So another favourite of mine from Grand Seiko. This is part of the Elegance range, which is again another one of my favourite ranges, and for me the Elegance GMT that we currently still have on the website is one of my favourite Grand Seikos, and this is definitely up there as well. So this is the Elegance SBGW231G with the manually wound Grand Seiko caliber 9S64. As you can see, a nice movement, manually wound. I believe 3 days, I could be wrong on that though, so do check that. It's from April 2021 with its box and paperwork, and it features a really beautiful, almost eggshelly cream dial. It's not quite bright white, it's sort of somewhere in between that and eggshell, which I think is really, really attractive and gives it a very vintage sort of look, especially with the case size at 37mm, which obviously we'll come on to a little bit later. But it comes paired with its original Grand Seiko leather strap, which is very, very comfortable, very well made, and one of the nicest buckles you'll see with the Grand Seiko stated right there. Very attractive buckle, and it's kind of amazing how much of a difference that can make to a watch. You know, a very well done buckle. It seems so minute in the grand scheme of the watch, but it does make a nice difference, and it really sort of tops it off for the wearing experience. Obviously Grand Seiko signed crown, and just a really nice case profile. These cases aren't super thin, they do have a little bit of thickness to them, which I think helps with the wearability, almost like a vintage Omega Seamaster in that sense. But they show on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go, paired on my 7-inch wrist. Very elegant in design. 37mm by 44mm lug to lug, 11.5mm thick, and 19mm on the lug, so a little bit awkward, but there are options out there. Do not panic. Plus this strap pairing works perfectly well. So go check this one out on the website today. From there, let's go over to something a little bit different with a Zenith Elite, and this is a fantastic dual time GMT basically, with a really cool dial, really nice design overall, and very underrated. Obviously Zenith, everyone thinks of the El Primero, maybe even the Defy range today, but the Elite range has been around for a long time and is pretty much a core classic among the modern lineup and offers great value for money. There's no question about it. This is one of those pieces, so let's take a closer look. Now Zenith Elite time with the Elite dual time in silver or white or whatever you want to call it, with a blue second hand and a blue GMT hand. Very beautifully done. I won't bore you with the reference to this one, you can go see it on the website, but the dial is definitely something to take a closer look at if I can get it in focus. There you go. Really nice two-tone with the two separate finishes, and again just really beautifully done. Applied Zenith logo up there at 12, date down there at 6, just very classic. You've got a crown over there at 3 o'clock and a pusher up here at 10 o'clock, and as we push it, it progresses the GMT hand, as you can see, to make GMT changes nice and quick on the fly. As we flip it over, you'll see an exhibition case back with, as no surprise, a beautifully finished and beautifully decorated automatic Zenith caliber 682, and this one's from December 2018 with its box and paperwork, its original Zenith strap and original Zenith buckle as well, as you can see. Just a beautifully designed watch, and again, as I said in the intro, very underrated among the Zenith lineup. People typically think of the El Primero and maybe even the Defy nowadays as well, but I think the Elite range offers some great value for your money, and there's no question about that. But let's show this one on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Again, this is where this really shines, really beautifully proportioned, and again, there's not many options for a dressy GMT out there, and this definitely ticks that box. So what you're looking at is 40mm by 47.5mm lug to lug, only 9mm thick, incredibly thin on the wrist, and 20mm lugs, so endless options for swapping out straps if you're not a fan of the brown alligator look, which I think looks great. So go check it out on the website today. Next, let's go over to a watch some of you have probably never seen before, and if you have, well done. This is the Vulcain Cricket, the President, in manually wound. It's an alarm watch, hence the name Cricket, and it's based on a very old model by Vulcain that was worn by presidents. It's kind of amazing. Great history on this one, so let's take a closer look. Next up is the Vulcain Cricket, and this is a very good looking and interesting watch with a salmon dial, and it's part of the President line because presidents wore the original Vulcain Cricket. Obviously Cricket is in reference to the alarm because it sounds like a cricket, and as we flip it over, you've got a manually wound Vulcain caliber V11. As you can see, really nicely decorated, to be honest, and a very good looking movement. The reference to this one is the 1X0X51, and this is from March 2020 with its box and papers, a very nice strap, original buckle, and another Vulcain strap in the box as well. So now that we've got all that out of the way, let's explain how you actually use the watch. So in the neutral position of the crown, if you wind backwards or anti-clockwise, you are winding the movement for powering the watch itself. So nice and simple, you go all the way as you usually would with a manually wound watch, and now we are fully wound. If you wind clockwise, that is winding the alarm. So if you don't want the alarm to work and you don't want it to sound, don't wind the watch that way and you won't give the alarm any power. Now, if we pull out the crown, we are in time changing mode. Now, something to keep in mind with this movement, you can only change the time clockwise. So don't try and change it backwards. It will work occasionally and sometimes it won't. It's just the nature of the movement. You have to wind clockwise. Then if you see we have this pusher here, if you push it all the way down, you have to make sure you do a nice strong push so it pulls the crown out. As you can see, as you go around, that's going to change the alarm. Nice and simple stuff, as you can see. Now let's go round and then let's show you how it works. Now let's show you how the alarm works. So now we've showed you all that. As we go round, let's say the time is going normal. As we get to the alarm, that is it going. Let's see if you can see that vibrating away. And you can probably don't need to put it that close to the mic. You can probably hear it a mile away, but you can see the little hammer beating away there as it slows down, and that is the alarm watch. So that's how it works. There you go. Nice and simple. So let's show it on wrist and taught dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. It's definitely not a small watch, but it wears really, really well, all considered. So what you're looking at is 42mm by 49mm lug to lug, 12.5mm thick, and 22mm on the lug. So endless options for different straps, but a great looking watch and one well worth checking out. So go check it out on the website today. From there, switch it up to a bronze hand heart. This is the Rake and Revolution limited edition. We just sold the other model we had, the stainless steel. This is around double the price, and it's because it's a limited edition. It is bronze and it's got a lot more going for it, but to be honest, the other piece was also fantastic. So this is if you're a fan of all of these aspects put together, but a really great watch and a really cool design as well. So let's take a closer look. Next up is Hanhart with the awesome Pioneer 417 ES, as it's known, and this is a limited edition done with the Rake and Revolution, a company that we've spoken about multiple times with their limited editions. For example, like the Zin one, I think they do fantastic limited editions, and it's always design focused, which I really, really like. As you can see, this one has the classic design with the faux patina and a bronze case, which really sort of shines and looks fantastic. It gives a really vintage style to this already vintage styled watch. I really like it. I won't bore you with the reference, you can see that on the website. And as you can remove the bund, by the way, if you're not a fan of the bund strap. As we open this, you can see Revolution and the Rake and all the limited edition details and the number it is, etc, etc. And beating away inside there is a manually wound Solita SW 510M for the manually wound version. That is actually the same movement that's in the Vertex MP45 in the manually wound version of that as well, which is a mono pusher, whereas obviously this is your standard 2-button chrono, start, stop and reset. A very, very attractive movement, especially at this price point as well. This one's from September 2020 and it does come with its box and papers, but let's show it on wrist and taught dimensions. And here we go, fitted to my 7-inch wrist with the bund. I would personally take that part off. I'm not a huge fan of buttons. I like them on old, very old military watches, as in trench watches, but for me, I just wear the 2-piece strap as normal. So what you're looking at is 42mm by 49.5mm lug to lug, 13mm thick, that's excluding the bund, and 21mm on the lugs. So a little awkward, but there are options out there. So go check out this awesome watch on the website today. Now before we go on to the Doxers, let's go on to the Longines, and we have the Heritage Classic Tuxedo Automatic, a very great looking watch, and something that kind of reminds me, and this is in a positive way, to Nomos, but done with the vintage style of Omega, and I think that's really cool. Obviously you've got the slightly longer straight lugs, and that gives me the Nomos vibe. It feels like the Orion, I believe it is, or the Club actually, probably more the Club, with the design of this one, but with, as I say, real Longines heritage in there. So let's take a closer look at this one. So now the Longines Tuxedo, a very, very good looking watch, rightfully so. And as I say, I definitely get Nomos vibes from this watch. And I don't mean in terms of the actual design, but in terms of the case. It reminds me of the Nomos Club with the straighter lugs, which give for an interesting wearing profile, especially for a smaller case at 38.5mm. It doesn't wear particularly that small. And obviously on the dial you have the Tuxedo layout, which is the black with the white. Some people call this the bullseye as well, but I think this looks really, really good with the faux patina sub-seconds down there. It definitely gives the illusion of a vintage watch, but done in modern proportions and a modern way. I won't bore you with the reference, you can see that on the website. As we flip it over, classic Longines engraving, and inside there is the automatic Longines caliber L893, and this one's from November 2021 with its box and paperwork, and it comes with the large wooden Longines box as you'd expect as well, obviously paired on its original strap with original buckle. But let's show this one on wrist and taught dimension. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist, a very comfortable watch. Yes, you have the longer lugs, but I still think it wears very, very well because the case size is a bit smaller, 38.5mm by 50mm lug to lug, 11.5mm thick and 19mm on the lug, so a little awkward, but there are options. Plus it looks really good on this. I'd maybe even wear it on a mesh bracelet. I think that would look kind of cool. But go check this one out on the website today. Now onto a vintage Longines. This is the Longines Conquest, a really gorgeous example from 1957 with a tropicalized black dial and the gold tone, which just works so well. A really lovely piece. So let's take a closer look at this one. Next up, a really beautiful vintage Longines Conquest. Now it won't be for everyone with this patina on the dial, but for me, I'm a big fan. You've got the sort of tropicalization, as we'd call it, which is sort of where the paint has just basically disintegrated over time, and it's created this beautiful texture and look, which I am a really big fan of. You have the gold on the dial, the gold on the hands, and the gilting with the branding and everything as well. Really nicely done. Nice profile on the case, nice strong case as well. It's not been over polished over the years. It's been well worn, that's for sure. You have a nice button crown, which is very similar to what the original would have been. And as we flip it over, you can see the Longines emblem still with a little bit of enamel in there, holding on for dear life. And you can see there's an actual engraving as well for Thomas Short. So whoever Thomas Short was, we've got your watch. Here it is. So this is the reference 9000-11 from circa 1957. We can determine that by the serial range, which is within the 10 million range as well. Inside is the automatic Longines caliber 19AS, and we even have the correct case reference on the lug right there as well, which is 1745. Very nicely done. A really cool watch. And you know what? Vintage watches deserve charm, and this has charm, and we're not going to ruin that by having the dial refinish, so we're going to keep it as is. But let's show it on wrist and talk dimension. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. There's a reason these vintage Conquests are so popular, and it's because of the size. They wear far better than the dimensions will lead you to believe. This is 35mm by 43mm lug to lug, 12.5mm thick, and 18mm on the lugs. So endless options, but this black suede I think really contrasts nicely against the dial. So go check out this watch on the website today. Now let's get on to the Doxers, and we have 3 in this drop. Let's start with this one, the one most of you will recognise straight away, the classic 300T Professional Orange with the upgraded bracelet with the adjust on there. A very good looking watch, very great piece. Helium escape valve as well. As I say, part of the professional line from Doxer. So let's take a closer look at this one. Now we are on to Doxer with the Doxer Sub 300T Professional in orange, featuring the helium escape valve and the upgraded bracelets with the dive extension clasp, as you can see on the beads of rice. The reference to this one, again, I won't bore you, it's a very long reference, you can go read it on the website, but this is sort of the classic Doxer. When we think of Doxer and their heritage and history with dive watches, this is probably what comes to mind for most people, and rightfully so. You know, it's iconic in design, and it features the orange dial, which Doxer are famous for as well. Beaten away inside here behind this case back, as we open it up, you can see nicely decorated, is the automatic Sellita SW200, and this one's from June 2022 with its box and paperwork and spare Doxer links as well. A really great watch, great movement, great look overall. You really cannot go wrong. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go, paired on my 7-inch wrist comfortably, a very beefy dive watch, but wears incredibly well. You certainly know you're wearing it, which I suspect is something you're going to want when diving, to be honest. And it's something you can rely on with the helium escape valve. It will do a lot more than most dive watches will. This is 42.5mm by 44mm lug to lug, only 13.5mm thick and 20mm on the lugs. Really great looking watch, so go check it out on the website today. Sticking with the absolute sort of tool watch diver theme, let's go over to this one. This is the Doxer Sub 600T Shark Hunter, as it's called. Very aggressive name and a very aggressive design to go with it. Really cool watch, so let's take a closer look. For the Doxer 600T with that very sort of angular Tourneau style case, which some of you are going to love, some of you really aren't, and that's okay. And this is the 600T Shark Hunter. For those of you who I guess hunt sharks out there, I'd recommend stopping that, but hey, there you go. I won't bore you with the reference to this one, again, super long. Very comfortable, much thinner bracelet to the beads of rice, and you can see it still features some stickers as well on the clasp. Nicely decorated case back. Beaten away inside is another automatic Sellita SW200. As you can see, date over there at 3 o'clock, and this features a really lovely glossy black dial, very reminiscent of the gloss dials of Rolex back in the day, and obviously other brands as well. A nice 2-step bezel, which features different things to measure different points. You've got a nice recessed screw down crown down there at 4 o'clock with orange inlay into the logo, very nicely done. and the overall fit and finish is fantastic, as you can see. This one's from January 2022 with its box and paperwork as well. They show on wrist and taut dimension. And here we go, very different wearing profile to the other Doxers we've looked at. This is 40mm by 47.5mm lug to lug, 14mm thick, and again 20mm on the lugs. A very comfortable watch. Also a big watch, but it wears surprisingly well and hugs the wrist thanks to the overall design and layout. So go check it out on the website today. Final Doxer on the table, less serious than the others, but still just as great. This is the Doxer Sub 200 Diving Star, known as the White Pearl 42mm, because of the white dial, white bezel, white rubber strap. It's definitely a look. We've actually had quite a lot of women interested in this as well as men, which is really great to see, and I can see exactly why. So if you're watching out there, guys, and you want to gift your wife a watch or your partner a watch and steal that watch from time to time, here's a cool watch to do so. So let's take a closer look. Next up, a very nicely done Doxer Sub 200 White Pearl, as you can see, with that really nice glossy white dial, white bezel, and white rubber strap. This is really an attractive watch and quite surprising on wrist. You might see it at first and go, that's a bright watch, you know, everything about it is bright. It's kind of like a white G-Shock or Swatch or something, but it really does work and it really does wear very nicely as well. Just like the others, I won't bore you with the reference, nice and long, you can see it on the website. And behind this case back is an automatic Sellita SW200, and this one's from June 2021 with its box and paperwork. It's original white strap, and the strap is in good condition. It isn't faded and it doesn't have any marks. Sometimes I've seen people say that it's got like marks on it. This hasn't. It's nice and clean and good and ready to go. So let's show it on wrist and taut dimensions. And here it is on my 7-inch wrist, a very attractive watch, especially at the price point, and incredibly comfortable. So what you're looking at here is 42mm by 46mm lug to lug, 13.5mm thick, and 19mm on the lugs. Doxer have some fantastic rubber options if you do want to swap it out, but to be honest, the white really works. I think the black could contrast quite nicely, but I'd probably keep it on the white. So go check it out on the website today. Now on to a ladies Omega Constellation. This one comes with box and booklets. It is in well-worn condition, well-loved, and we can have it fully done to look brand new if you desire, but we've kept it as is and we've priced it as such as well. This is the most affordable on the market by a long shot. So let's take a closer look at this one. And last but by no means least, this is the tiny Omega Constellation for ladies in two-tone steel and 18 karat gold. And this is the 22.5mm, 22.5mm model, specifically the 795-1203 with the quartz Omega caliber 1456, and this one dates from circa 1990s, and it comes with its box and booklets. As I said in the intro, it has been worn, it has been well loved, and we have left it as such, and we can obviously get it polished and looking brand new for you if that's what you'd like. You know, we can get that done, so do keep that in mind. Now the crystal has got some scratches to the anti-reflective, which you can see when in direct light that catches the anti-reflective, and again that can be replaced if requested as well. But a really beautiful dial under there, quartz movement, you can't really go wrong. Perfect everyday watch for a petite lady out there, or even any lady really. It will work on very well. So the dimensions are 22.5mm by 28mm lug to lug, 7mm thick, and 24mm on the lugs. That's obviously that entire part, which tapers ever so slightly down to the clasp. So go check out this watch on the website today. So there you have it, guys and girls. This week's drop, there really is, as always, something for everyone in this drop. We've even got a piece for the ladies, and something that is very unisex. And obviously the great thing about watches is anyone can wear anything, and that's the beauty of it. So I hope you've all enjoyed it, and let me know down in the comments what's your favorite piece from this drop, and we will see you again next week for another incredible drop with some amazing stuff coming. So keep an eye out. We'll see you then. Take care.